Hey, horror movie fans. Welcome back to another episode of Tay and Jay's Horror Slays. Now, before we get into this movie, let me just say this. It's going to be kind of short. We really don't have that much to say about it. But we did just finish watching The Exorcist Believer. So let's go.
Let's go. The movie was released October 6, 2023. Directed by David Gordon Green. 22% on Rotten Tomatoes. Starring Olivia O'Neill, Lydia Jewett, Jennifer Nettles, Leslie Odom Jr., and for their big Exorcist return, Linda Blair and Ellen Bernstein.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's not going to be much to be said. I mean, it was enjoyable. But, okay, so first and foremost, any type of exorcism movie, it has to make sense. And to me, the storyline of why the kids got possessed, it was very, it's been done before. You know, it's cheesy, we get it. You miss your dead parent, you do some type of ritual, you get possessed. Wash, rinse, repeat. Like, so that was really where I was at with it. You know, I mean, I did like the little kind of, I guess you would call it fake out in the beginning, because we thought that the mom was actually getting possessed when she got the ritual done to protect the baby, but you know, so that was pretty cool. But I mean, other than that, like, there were some really good points and there were some really bad points. I'm going to start with the bad points for me. And that was, like I said, the cliche of the death of the parent.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cliche. It was okay. The movie is okay. I mean, there's not a whole lot. I mean, I've told you, I've said this multiple times, probably not on the podcast as much because we haven't done very many possession type movies. I've been kind of tired of Exorcist this, Exorcist that. The first one is a classic. It's phenomenal. It's a little slow at times, but I mean, what do you expect for a movie that was made in the 70s? Most movies from the 70s do that because their story, like, you have to do more storytelling with less, not animatronics, but technology.
Yeah.
For special effects. Thank you. Yeah, when you have less ability to do certain special effects, your storytelling is what is going to make the movie. So the original one did that. It gave you everything you needed from that perspective. And I feel like this movie tried to do that. But it just, like you said, it was very, very, like you said, you caught it from even before her mother died in the beginning. We were getting to know them as in their relationship, and you had already called it. You were like, I can see it now. It's gonna be a cliche. One of them's gonna die, probably the mom, and then later on the daughter's going to try to speak to her, and that you had caught it. You said that before we even got into the movie, that is exactly the way that they were going, and that's the way, because that's the way they portrayed it.
Yeah, they made us pay way too much attention to her specifically, and I'm like, this is going to be one of them. Okay, I see where this is going. You know, that I'm sorry, y'all. This is probably the first time I've talked about a movie where I wasn't like, man, I really liked it, or I was excited about something of it. I really was kind of like, okay. I mean, before I get to that, what I was about to say, what I will say is, I'm getting this out the way. Would I buy it on DVD? No. That's just me. I wouldn't do that. I don't want to watch that again. I mean, I would do like a rewatch just for you guys, but just recreationally, no, I wouldn't. But so what I was going to say is, another thing I didn't like was the way they did it. Like, I mean, as teenagers, we did a lot of really stupid, scary things. But like, okay, for example, Talk to Me made more sense before the mom died and I'm, getting possessed or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, it was more than just the possession of, the afterlife. It was the high of the doing it. You know what I mean? I said of the doing it. And, so all that made sense. Like, we live in a day and age where I could see dumbass teenagers playing with an embalmed hand. I can't see two teenage girls performing a ritual in the middle of the woods in a freaking cellar, a random cellar that's like basically, I think it was dry when they went in there though. But regardless, I don't see two teenage girls doing that. Especially two teenage girls. I mean, I was once a teenage girl and there was no way I was doing that type of shit. Like, if they were in her room, if they were paying homage to the movie and then put her in a room with a Ouija board, it would have made a lot more sense. But I feel like the way that they got possessed, it was not an average possession to me. It felt movie related because, like I said, no real teenagers in the right mind is doing that. And then, and them going missing, all that stuff, I think that was pretty good, but it was just kind of like, I mean, again, even that kind of bugged me a little bit because I know they don't explain, but like, where the fuck did they go? Like, you know what I mean? There was no sound, no trace from nowhere. Like, it was just really, I don't know. It was very, very weird. There were so many flaws in their storytelling in that movie.
I agree. I 100% agree. And I'm just going to go back a little bit. I'm just going to go back a little bit from what we were saying. I just feel like sorry, because I'm just like, I'm trying to articulate my words properly.
No, you're good.
I just feel like it was rushed, and I went into it. I went into this movie the same way that I went into Saw X, where I went into it excited, but I held back my my excitement a lot because of this specific reason. Saw X, they hit where they were supposed to be hitting. This one didn't. They did what I expected them to do when it comes to you trying to, get the nostalgia of old characters and like.
Yeah, they did do that.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. I love that they brought back Ellen Bernstein. Like, she's amazing. And I'm glad that in the end, spoiler, in the end, Reagan shows up. Like, it's amazing to see them acting, doing that, like, because this is their movie. Like, they made this movie.
Right.
They made The Exorcist what it is. So it was nice to see them, and I feel like they believed that would be enough. Like, they could just scrum together a story, and everyone would be okay with the story because they brought back these icons in the horror genre. And it would work for maybe a casual watcher, like someone who has seen The Exorcist, but they're not super big into watching horror movies. But when you go into people who really watch this stuff and really analyze it, like us, like Jeremy Jans, like all of these people who really found flicks, like all of these people who really look into details of this type of stuff, that's where you're gonna, we'll be excited. Yeah, we're excited that you showed us these icons, but it's like, it don't fix a bad story.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It definitely doesn't fix how horrible. It's like putting a Band-Aid over a wound that needs to be sewn. Like, yeah, it's kind of like stopping the bleeding just a little bit, but it's not going to fix it. Like, you know what I mean? So I definitely agree with that. I guess I'll kind of like, because I kind of, where I want to go, I guess it's kind of like a scale of things I liked and didn't like. Now, I do like the fact that the dad was not religious at all. I do agree with that. I do like the fact that because it worked for me. Because he, in a way, was like, where else can I go? Because I'm not going to listen to y'all, you know, all this God thing, blah, 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 blah. You know, that actually worked for me. Not a whole lot. I'm not going to say like, oh my gosh, it was like the greatest thing. But it did work for his character. And, you know, and also, not the neighbor, the one that was supposed to be a nun, not Anne, but the other one. I can't remember his name. That brought the
friend.
Yeah, that brought the women into the house. Yeah. That to me was another thing that was a little bit forced to me, because it's given, like, you know how every horror movie has that random montage of somebody doing their research, but it's like the research got skipped over in that part, and it just like it got thrown all in our face. Like, first of all, especially because he's in his house, like, he didn't call him and say, hey, could I bring a couple friends over? If he didn't invite him over somewhere, like invite him to his house and then like had the ladies there, or said, hey, can, you know, we have a small get together, or whatever he had to do, you know what I mean? To convince him to bring them in the house. I feel like that probably would have worked, but it just felt like really like mad force, especially because I feel like she probably had the best character to me. I don't remember her name, but the lady
Behab. Sorry.
Yeah, the Behab. I think that she had like the best character to me. So I feel like trying to throw her abruptly in there in that random scene after they went missing, I felt like it was just too much.
Yeah, I agree. It was a okay try, just not the best execution. Thank you. That is the word I was looking for. Yeah. It just wasn't the best execution of it, because like you said, even if he wouldn't have told him what he was doing, but hey, I'm gonna stop by, I'll probably get there before you do, just so it's not like you're just breaking into my house. Like, we're cool, you're my neighbor, and even if, like, okay, for example, even my brother, it's my brother, I love my brother. Even if I got home to him randomly being in my house, I'm like, yo, what are you doing in my house?
And left the door cracked.
Yeah, like, it's not like you texted me to let me know that you stopping by. You just show up. And you, not only do you just show up, it's not even like you showed up like, okay, I'm home chilling, and you just show up like, hey, what's going on? No, you show up and just come in my house.
Literally.
And I'm not home. Like, that that's crazy. Like, that is crazy to me. Like, I've never in life.
I'm telling you, I don't think they thought that part through, man.
Swear. And dude, I mean, okay, like, you know, I'm not trying to go a whole lot into like race type of things, but dude is black. Like, you can't just be walking up in our houses like you know, you liable to get shot.
I was just getting ready to say that. I was gonna say, what if he was licensed to carry? He would have shot you. That would have been crazy.
Especially in his most vulnerable state. Like, his daughter is not home. Like, she is missing 4 days. Like, she has been missing 4 days, and
I think it was the second day at that point.
It was the second day at that point. So, like, yeah, for 4 days, a couple of days, she has been missing, and you're just up in my house. What you think I'm gonna be thinking?
No, wait. And then I like when he just came out, I'm like, hey, like, just touch his shoulder, like, bro, I would have stole you, like.
100%, without question. You got to get socked. And speaking of coming up behind people, when his daughter finally did get home, they finally found them or whatever, and he brought her home. This is just me, but she had too much hostility in her eyes. She ain't say nothing. She had hostility in her eyes for me.
Right.
He was just too calm with the way that she was looking at him. I don't care what you've been through. What you looking at me like that for? We got a problem?
You know what? That too. He was too calm about a lot of stuff. I was like, he's calm while his lights is flickering on and off. Well, first of all, I told you the first time lights flicker off like that and came on, I'd have been left. That's just me. The lights flicker a certain way. They don't just go shoom, shoom. No, sorry. And there's no storm going on outside. I'm out of here. But that's number one. But two, like I said, she's like the lights are flickering in the bathroom and she's just standing there staring at him. no, I'm out. I'm leaving. And I'm leaving you in here. Like, and I'm calling the bro that had the lady, and she won't come over here because somebody else got to deal with it. I'm not.
Oh, 100%. I already told you. I told you right around that time when you looking at me like that. You looking at me like you crazy? Oh yeah, they gotta come get you. I don't care where they take you. I'll come visit, but you can't. you're not staying here. You are not.
You are not. You sure the hell are not.
I'm just saying.
I was like, but like I said, he was just calm about way too much. Like, she peed in the bed. The next day, he puts her in the bathroom. And then with the
he went to go.
Yeah, she opened the door.
Well, he went to go first. He went to go try to like take care of her sheets, like he had never.
Like, she is not old enough to take care of her own sheets.
Facts.
I'm still on that part. Like, so then she like runs up behind him, grabs his mom's scarf, puts it on his head, and bangs his head off the bed. First and foremost, not only would I have to beat her up, but I also would have to restrain her with the dang scarf, because what we not gonna do is that.
I'm just saying. Listen, I love our kids, but you ever get out of pocket and you about to put your hands on me, it's on. It's on.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there was, like I said, there was a transition of the way she was in the beginning to the way she was then, and he just was like, he wanted every explanation except for the one that he really needed. Listen, you don't have to be super religious, you guys. All horror movie fans, you don't got to be religious. You don't got to be a super hard spiritual person. But let me tell you something. If your child come home after 3 days, okay, 1, 2, 3, okay, and they are acting ridiculously strange, and we're talking about this is after they had testing at the hospital, so there's no signs of nothing, and they're acting that strange, bruh, call a priest, okay? That is called demonic possession. If you don't be quiet, sorry, our cat's in the background.
Yeah, I agree the same thing. Like, you don't have to be super religious and stuff, but when, especially if you are a horror movie fan, like, shoot, you see it all the time in the movies. So, like, you see this stuff going on, take care of that. I know that you don't want to, I know you say you're not going to want to believe that it's that and all that stuff, but listen, I say it's better safe than sorry than literally being sorry. Like, you will literally, if you're wrong, if you are wrong, like, see, that's the same thing I feel about people who be like, there's no God or whatever. Like I said, you can believe what you want to believe, but why risk it? Like, nobody knows what happens when you die. So what if, that's all I'm saying, what if when you die you do go to the pearly gates and they,
not the pearly gates.
I'm just saying, you end up there and all of it, and then when you get to the gates, then you're like, dang, like, this whole time I was pretending like this wasn't real.
Nah, facts.
Listen, I'm not willing to take that risk. Y'all, any of y'all could take that risk all you want. I love y'all. Y'all could take that risk. I will not. Okay, I'll rather live my life as if it is what it is, and then if it's not after that, no harm, no foul. It's not like what, well, like, my life is going to, like, like, okay, I'm gone. So it's like,
right.
It's not like it hurt me to be a better person.
Exactly. So, yeah. So what I feel also about that movie is there was, what was it? I do like when Anne did come and explain to him about what happened in the hospital with his daughter, about her calling her by her supposed to be nun name, and the abortion that she had. I think that's one of the good things too, was the reveals of things. Like her supposed to be a nun, but she wasn't, but she had an abortion. And then with him, like, because they show you in the beginning where, you know, they tell doctor tells the husband, like, you know, you got to choose your wife or the baby, and you just kind of you just get to the point where you see her and you're like, oh, okay, you know. And for me, my logical choice would be my child, but I've talked to some people that are like, no, choose me, and I'm like, that's deep, like, because you lived your life. This baby hasn't lived her life yet, but those people should not be named. But so come to find out though, from the demon or whatever that was possessing his daughter, that he actually did choose his wife, and that was crazy. Like, that was really crazy. I was like, I think that probably to me, that was the best part of the movie.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Listen, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there are some trickle effects of, like, good parts. As a whole, I feel like it was sloppy writing, but there were really good parts of the movie. That being probably the best reveal, the best part of the movie was to find out that he actually chose his wife, and in the process of them trying to save his wife, they ended up saving the baby. You know, like, that is crazy. And his face when it happened was even more crazy because it was the same. It was literally the same thing as the reveal of the neighbor Anne about her nun name. You know, it was like, how do you know that? Like she said, like she was like, I have never spoken about this ever. Nobody knew my nun name. Nobody knew I was ever pregnant, but your child did. Like,
yeah, that was crazy.
You know, so it's like those things, like, tied the movie together where it was like, okay, I can get with that.
Yeah. Like, that's exactly what it did for me. I was like, okay, I fuck with that. Like, that, I can really get behind that concept. And it was really good. Those two parts, I mean. But again, I mean, it wasn't enough to save it.
True.
You know. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, like, and I also enjoy some people's interactions with things, because I felt like same thing with Talk to Me with the mother. You know, it felt like this was real thing. Like, this is something a mother would really be saying to her kids.
Right.
You know, like when she was like, my daughter's vagina is off limits or something like that. Like, that is something you would say to your daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, so when fast forward to this movie, where the priest, like, they're doing the exorcism, and the priest that was supposed to be helping them, who ended up deciding that he couldn't because the church wouldn't let him or whatever. He's sitting in his car, kind of like subliminally helping in the car, praying, and he's like, dude knocks on the window, like the dad, the main character, the dad is like, yo, the fight is in there,
right?
And I was like, we both said, like, yo, facts. Like, that is literally something that I would have said. I was like, I would have been like, yo, why are you out here praying? Like, we need help in there.
Yeah, you know what? And that's another thing. Whoo, them characters was like the dad, Tony, of the other little girl's dad. This fool, everybody took their shoes off and all that stuff when they came in. This fool would keep his shoes on. I was like, you know what? And I was like, he going to be the first to do something stupid. And you know what? He wasn't the first, but he was goddamn sure the last one, okay? Yes, that stupid bitch. Because when he was sitting there and he's looking all scared. I'm like, y'all gotta stand strong together. I know it's some scary shit, especially for y'all, like Tony and them. Y'all know about this stuff. Y'all go to church every Sunday.
Literally.
So it's like, I'm not saying I see it in person wouldn't be a little bit more scary, but I'm saying, like, bro, you've been low-key training for this type of shit. So it's like, and this is your daughter's life hanging in the balance. So it's like, you know, you gotta be all the way there. And he just, like, a lot of people, like, there was times people like kind of bowed out a little bit, like not like saying it, but they kind of like stopped. And even with Anne, she did for like a second, but I was kind of glad she got it back together. But like when the dang demon said, choose one of these girls or both gonna die, and eventually the mom looked at him and he looked at her, and he's like, I'm not gonna choose, and she was like, I'm not. She's like, we can't choose. And then at the end where all this shit's going on, he's talking about, I choose you, Catherine. I'm like, you suck. The way I wanted to strangle him through the screen was just outlandish. Because, like, why? Stop letting the demon win.
Literally. And this is what I actually brought it up when it happened. I was like we didn't even know that it was going to happen that way. But as soon as he said it, the first thing that popped into my head was the movie Eli, where the mother is explaining she prayed to God for so long about having a child. So she ended up praying to someone else, obviously, who was the devil. And she was like, and that's how I got you. But she was like, what you need to know is the devil always lies. So like that is what popped into my head immediately when he said it. I was like, the devil always lies. Like, what are you doing?
You did say that like about like 3 times before that part even came up.
True. But I said it. I'm just saying. I said it again when he did that because I was like I said, we didn't even get to the part where his daughter dies. But as soon as he said that, I was like, you're stupid. And for 2 seconds, I thought I was wrong because the main character dude, his daughter's heart flatlined. So I was like, okay, maybe they did do it where his daughter's going to survive because he chose. And then as soon as I thought that in my head, her scan went boop, boop, and then the other girl's heart went flatline, and I was like, I told you. Oh snap! I almost dropped my phone, but I was like, I told you. Like, why would you do that? You could have saved both. They were lying to you. That is what they do.
That's exactly what I was saying. I'm like, just keep going with the ritual. You're not done with it. Just keep going. But no, he just had to say that. You know what? And the messed up part was he was just getting it together.
Literally.
He put the little thing on that she put on. He didn't touch her. He stopped his wife from touching her because, the B-hab said not to touch her. You know what I'm saying? He took his shoes off finally. I'm like, okay, Tony.
He's getting it together.
Then the priest dies, and all of a sudden he just loses all faith. I was like, you know what?
And honestly, I think that is like, I hate to say it, but like you really do see how much people have faith in God when they are truly tested. Like that was a true test of your faith, and he folded.
Yeah, and it not only did he just fold, but it's like you said, like, how is his wife going to speak to him after that? I said, divorce immediately. Like, as soon as the sun came up, I'd have been sitting in front of the lawyer's office. Like, what's up? Like, because, and me and Dad talked about this before, though. People put way too much faith in their pastors and preachers and reverends. Like, they're just here to deliver the word.
Mm-hmm.
They are not the word, is what I'm saying. And people kind of get so caught up in that where they're like, oh, yeah, thank you, Reverend. And, they're always doing all that type of stuff. And they're like, oh, please bless and pray for the Reverend. And it's like, dog, he's just doing the Lord's work just as anybody else would. The only difference with him and you is that he went to school to study that shit. Mm-hmm. Like, you cannot, excuse me, Lord, you cannot sit up there and say and treat whoever's teaching your church, you cannot treat them as if they are the Lord. And I feel like that was one of his biggest flaws, and that's exactly what got his daughter killed.
I 100% agree, like totally, because like that is that like I said, like you said, like once the preacher can, because I think that might also be when he started to get better, was when the preacher came in to start helping. He started like,
you right.
I'm just saying, like he started like being like, okay, we're good now. And then when the preacher died, he was just like I'm not, like he was like, oh, I'm not strong enough. It's like, bro, like he can't hold your strength. You have to be strong on your own. You have to believe on your own. And I honestly, now that I think about it, I love the name of this one, The Exorcist Believer. Like that holds so true for this specific movie, because I even said it. I think it was at the very beginning of the exorcism, like when they were about to start it. I'm like, how is it that you go to church every day, you pray, you believe in God? Why is the person who has why is the person who is a skeptic, a person who does not believe in God, have more faith in this working than you?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me either. But you know what? That's a lot of people though. You know, you get your faith tested, and then, you know, where do you go at that point? Do you run to God? Like, I've been guilty of it myself in the past. Do you run to God, or do you run to other humans?
Yeah.
Excuse me. And a lot of people will run to other humans. Well, I guess this is getting, I guess this was a little longer than I thought it was going to be, but it is what it is. But,
because we added a little something
a little razzle dazzle.
You already know.
So, I'm going to just get straight to this point. On my scary scale, 10 obviously being the worst, I would say it's probably, it's a 5.
Okay.
Not a movie as a whole. Maybe a 6, 7.
Okay. I would say for my scary scale, I would probably say a 5 also. 5 even. It was average.
Yeah.
With its
Jump
scary.
scares.
Yeah. And for for the movie as a whole, honestly, I would probably give it a 4 for me. Like, I feel like it was more scary than good writing. But, I mean, like I said, there are things that I did like, but it just wasn't enough. You know, it didn't, like, the good parts didn't outweigh. The scale wasn't even even for the things that I liked in comparison to things that I didn't like. The things that I didn't like heavily outweighed the good things that were in the movie for me.
Yeah, and I definitely understand that. But at this point, we done talking about this. We're gonna spend as much time talking about it as we did watching it. So with that being said, stay horror, stay creepy, and remember, it's always spooky season. Horror fans unite!
2 fingers.